22-year-old college pitcher got bit on the ankle on a hike. Within 2 minutes, he couldn't see his own hand in front of his face, and it took 34 vials of antivenom to save his life. That's almost double of what most people need. I'm going to show you exactly why. In this video, we're going to talk about what actually happened to him, why antivenom dosing isn't like normal medication, exactly how doctors track whether a patient is getting better or worse, why some people need 3 vials while others might need 50 for the exact same type of bite, and the one thing that will change how you think about snake bite safety. Let's get into it. On July 18th, Jake Entrup, a pitcher who just finished his run at Citrus College and was gearing up for grad school ball, is out on the Claremont Wilderness Trail with his mom and their dog. He's running just ahead of her, rounds a corner, and gets struck on the ankle by a rattlesnake he never saw coming. Here's the part that should scare you. This wasn't a slow building reaction. In his own words, within the first 2 minutes, he couldn't even see his own hand in front of his face. That's how fast systemic envenomation can move. A nurse happened to be hiking nearby, stopped, and held his hand, kept him calm, which actually matters clinically because panic raises your heart rate and can speed venom circulation. He got to the hospital and doctors started antivenom, then kept giving it and kept giving it. By the end, 34 vials in total, 3 days hospitalized across 2 different hospitals. Okay, pharmacist brain kicks in here because this is where it gets interesting. Most medications you take are dosed by weight, bigger person, bigger dose, pretty predictable. Antivenom doesn't work that way at all. Antivenom is dosed by symptom control, not body weight. Doctors give an initial loading dose, usually somewhere between 4 to 10 vials, depending on the product. Then they watch. Is the swelling still spreading? Are clotting labs still abnormal? Is the patient still having symptoms? If yes, they give more. If no, they stop. That's it. That's the whole system. So 2 people bitten by the same species of snake, same location on the body, can need wildly different amounts. Because it's not about the person's size, it's about how much venom actually got injected and how their individual body is reacting to it. And there's a second reason antivenom has to be dosed this way instead of a fixed number. The antibody concentration isn't identical vial to vial. Antivenom is made from pooled, purified antibodies harvested from immunized animals. And like any biologic product, potency can vary slightly batch to batch. So a fixed take this many vials rule doesn't account for that variability. So instead of a set dose, it's a response dose system. Give some, reassess the patient. Give more if needed. Repeat until symptoms are actually controlled, not until some predetermined number is hit. This isn't unique to snake antivenom either. Scorpion antivenom, the one used for severe bark scorpion stings, brand name Anascorp, works the exact same logic. Fix loading dose, then reassess. Then repeat if the patient's still symptomatic. Any antibody-based antivenom follows the same response-driven model because the biology behind it is the same. So how do doctors actually know whether Jake got better, worse, or was staying the same? It's not a guess. There's a real grading system and monitoring system behind it. First, when a patient comes in, they get graded by severity, mild or minimal, moderate or severe, based on 3 things: local effect on the bite site, systemic symptoms, and clotting blood function. Local effects mean how far the swelling is spread from the bite site. And this actually gets tracked in a very old school way. A nurse will draw a line on the edge of the skin where swelling is, note the time, then remeasure every 15 to 30 minutes to see if the line is moving. If the swelling is still creeping past that mark, that's an active worsening antivenomation. Systemic effects means things like Jake's vision loss, right? Nausea, low blood pressure, trouble breathing, anything like that that shows the antivenom effect has gone beyond just the bite site and is now systemic. And then there's the coagulopathy. This is the one people don't expect. A lot of rattlesnake venom breaks down your body's ability to clot your blood. So doctors are running repeat labs, fibrinogen, platelets, INR, sometimes every few hours because the patient can look stable on the outside while their blood is quietly losing its ability to clot. Here's the actual decision loop. Give an initial loading dose, then reassess all 3 categories. Is the swelling line still moving? Are symptoms still present? Are the labs still abnormal? If yes to any of it, give another dose. Reassess again. repeat. That's the loop. That's why Jake got 34 rounds of still not control, give more, before his body could actually catch up. It's not the big number decided up front. It's dozens of small repeated decisions. Let me show you just how much this varies because the numbers are wild. Same summer, same general region, Southern California, they're actually in the middle of a spike in rattlesnake bites this year. There's nearly 250 bites and 3 deaths already reported early July. A 3-year-old girl in Santa Clarita got bit on the hand by a snake that was hiding under the Amazon package in her front yard. She needed 3 vials. Jake needed 34. There was also an Idaho man visiting Northern California back in May who needed 54 vials to survive. 3 totally different outcomes, same basic threat. That's not inconsistency. That's the treatment protocol working exactly as designed. It's reactive by nature because there's no fast test that tells doctors this much venom, this much antivenom the moment someone walks in. They're managing it in real time, vial by vial. Quick myth to bust, because most people assume antivenom is some kind of lab-made chemical like a regular drug is. It's not. Antivenom is made from antibodies usually harvested from sheep or horses that have been safely exposed to small amounts of venom over time, so their immune system builds up antibodies against it. These antibodies are then purified and turned into vials that the hospital uses. So when Jake got 34 vials, he wasn't getting 34 doses of venom-neutralizing chemical. He was getting a massive volume of borrowed immune defense built by another animal's immune system to buy his own body time to recover. That's also part of why it's not weight-based, and part of why it can trigger allergic type reactions in some patients, because technically you're infusing foreign body protein into a human body under emergency conditions. Same deal with scorpion antivenom, by the way. It's antibodies too. It's not synthesized chemical. Different animal source, but same basic biology. Antivenom gets all the headlines, but in a case like this, it's almost never the only medication involved. A few others are actually working right alongside it. If a patient starts reacting to antivenom itself, it's foreign protein. Remember, doctors have antihistamines, corticosteroids on standby to manage these allergic responses, sometimes epinephrine if the reaction becomes severe enough. Pain control is its own careful decision. You think about reaching for an anti-inflammatory or anti-steroid medication like ibuprofen, but we want to avoid it in this case because rattlesnake venom can disrupt clotting factors, and adding a medication that can also affect platelets can increase bleeding risk. The pain is usually managed with acetaminophen, or for more severe pain, we can use opioids. Tetanus prophylaxis, standard as well for deep puncture wounds. This carries a risk, so we make sure the patient is up to date. If not, they get a booster of a tetanus shot. There's IV fluids running the entire time, both to support the low blood pressure potentially and to help the kidneys keep clearing whatever is moving through the bloodstream. So the antivenom is doing the main job, neutralizing the venom, but there's also a whole supporting cast of medications that help make sure the treatment doesn't create new problems while it's happening. One more thing worth noting. Most hospitals don't keep a huge stockpile of antivenom sitting around because it's expensive to stock and it can expire. Smaller ERs might only carry a handful of vials, sometimes even single digits. So this is actually why Jake ended up being treated at 2 different hospitals. When a case needs dozens of vials, the first hospital can burn through their entire stock supply really fast, and they'll have to transfer the patient or get medications from another facility to them to make sure that the case gets what it requires. This is a real documented issue of emergency medicine, especially in rural areas or during high bite seasons like the one Southern California is in right now. Hospital antivenom supply can run low exactly when regional bite activity spikes because demand isn't spread out evenly. It's clustered around the same weather, the season, and here's the part that gets glossed over in most of the news coverage. Cost. Antivenom is one of the most expensive medications in American hospitals. A single vial can run into thousands of dollars before insurance. In severe cases like the one Jake had, needing over 30 vials, plus 2 days in 2 different hospital systems, can generate bills that outlast the recovery period. Luckily, Jake is expected to make a full recovery and get back to his pitching, but recovery isn't just about his tissues healing. For a lot of snakebite survivors, it's also about financial recovery. That's the unglamorous side, framed as a miracle survival. And don't get me wrong, it is a miracle. So why did it take 34 vials? Because antivenom isn't dosed by who you are, it's dosed by how your body is doing in real time, minute by minute, minute by minute against venom that moves fast enough to blind you in 2 minutes. Jake's making a full recovery and getting back on the mound. If you're ever hiking in Snake County, stay on clear trails. Don't reach into brushes or under rocks. And if you're bitten, stay as calm as you can and get to a hospital immediately. Don't try to suck the venom out. Don't use a tourniquet. Don't ice it. Just get moving towards help. If you found out right now you needed 30 plus vials of medication to survive, would you have guessed that's how antivenom even works? Tell me in the comments.